Hey everyone, I'm Cyanide, and having a Ditto with perfect IVs is an amazing thing to have for breeding stronger Pokemon. Of course, there's bottle caps in this game, but I consider it difficult to get enough bottle caps to perfect an entire team just using them. So I think breeding still has its place. Especially when you have to catch Paradox Pokemon straight from the wild, it's likely that you're going to have to use a big chunk of your bottle caps on them. In this video, I will tell you guys where you can find a Ditto in the wild, but more importantly, how you can find one a little more quickly from tera raids so you can get one with perfect IVs. So if you're going through the game and want to catch a wild Ditto, or if you just want to have a Ditto that's quick and easy to find, even if you finish the game but don't have one yet, keep in mind that when you catch a Ditto from the wild, there is no guarantee for any perfect IVs. So if you want a wild Ditto, go just outside Medali, the small city where you battle the normal type gym as well as where you find the restaurant where you can change your tera type. Try to look around and lock onto random Pokemon using ZL. When locking onto various Pokemon, you may find that you're looking at a Ditto disguised as the Pokemon they appear to be. Zorua can be found this way as well. If you have yet to catch a Ditto, you might see question marks when you log onto one. I noticed that when you see a Pokemon that normally spawns in groups but appears to be totally alone this time, it's probably one of these imposters. You could just ignore them when they do spawn in groups since they're likely the real deal. Once you find one, when you get into battle with it, it will drop its original disguise. You can try to get it low with False Swipe on the first turn before it uses Transform, and paralyze it the next turn if you want to make an easy catch, or if you want to get crafty. You can send out a weak Pokemon first, then switch in the Pokemon you want to catch it with after it transforms into the weak one. To have a higher chance to find a Ditto this way, you can make a sandwich that boosts your normal type encounter rate. I use recipe number 34, which gives you a level 2 encounter power for normal types. But Ditto isn't all that rare in the first place. That being said, I don't recommend trying very long to find a good Ditto this way, because you can definitely find better, much stronger Dittos later through tera raids of any rarity, and you eventually will, given you take on enough of them. The higher the rarity you find the Ditto in, or any Pokemon of that matter, the more perfect IVs you will catch them in. But finding a good Ditto from any random tera raid could be time consuming. Not only do you have to deal with the random chance of getting a Ditto out of the pool of other possible raid Pokemon of that rarity, but you might also get a Ditto of low rarity, meaning less perfect IVs, ranging between only 2 perfect IVs for 3-star raids to 4 IVs from 5-star ones. I don't recommend making a focused effort to find a Ditto until you complete the post-game and unlock 6-star raids. This is because you can find them easily from the map, and be sure that if you do come across a Ditto, it will have 5 perfect IVs. What you're going to want to do for this is that you'll go straight to the 6-star raid that you find on your map. Just open the den and see if it's a Ditto. If it's not Ditto, you're going to want to refresh your tera raids by going to the home screen of your Switch, going to the settings, then go to the system option on the bottom, then the date and time. If your clock is synchronized to the internet, turn that setting off, then manually set the date and time to a minute before midnight. Return to your game and wait until your system clock strikes midnight. Check your map for the location of the new 6-star raid and go there to check if it's Ditto. If it's not, go refresh your tera raids again. This can be a lengthy process, but since there are only 70 possible Pokemon in 6-star raids, you'll get your Ditto eventually. It could honestly take hours, but if you really want to make sure that you find a Ditto with great IVs, then I think it's worth it. If you want to speed up this process so that you're not waiting a full minute between each check, as you're traveling to a Tera Den to check if it's a Ditto, set the system clock to 11:59 PM when you think you're less than a minute away from it. So by the time you get there and check, your tera raids will refresh soon after. Or if you know you can get there in under a minute from the nearest teleport point, you can just set the time before you warp. If you're worried that you might find a 6-star Ditto but you might get beaten by it, and when you exit the raid your dens have refreshed, meaning that the Ditto is gone, that happened to me before, but don't worry. Since then, I have come up with a foolproof solution to make sure that you can defeat any Ditto tera raid. Basically, the idea is that you're going to want to bring in a super weak Pokemon into the raid. Ditto will always copy the host of the raid, and since you are the one who found this Ditto raid, that would be you, even if you're playing with other people. With this knowledge, you can bring in an incredibly weak Pokemon, and then you'll just be battling an incredibly weak Pokemon. Ditto will copy your exact stats, meaning that even though the Ditto itself is level 90, it will still have the same stats as your low level Pokemon. The only thing is that it retains its own HP stat when transformed. For this, I have chosen Wiglet. I wanted a Pokemon with extremely low defensive stats, both physically and specially, so that your partners will be able to kill it quickly. You can even trust the NPC partners to get the job done. They're all built with movesets with attacks that no single type is immune from, so they'll always be doing at least some damage, no matter the Tera type of the raid. And even if they happen to be resisted from this Tera type, with something with as low defenses as your Pokemon has, it will still die in just about 3 turns or less. I chose Wiglet for its pathetic defenses, but technically Igglybuff or Pawmi have lower defenses, but when their stats are this low, after rounding to whole numbers for the final stats, their defensive stats are actually just the same. This Wiglet is level 1, hatched straight from an egg with only decent defensive IVs, and I even put on a nature that decreases its defense on it. I also made my Wiglet forget all of its attacking moves and only put Helping Hand on it, so the Ditto can't do anything whatsoever, while you can buff your partner's damage. But I found out that when your Pokemon only knows Helping Hand, the Ditto will struggle when it copies you, so make sure you add on another move like Agility, which basically still doesn't help the Ditto at all. Alright, so that's all I have for you today. I hope you found this information useful, and if you like what you saw, consider subscribing. I have been Cyanide, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.